Your Honor, while he's here, the court wanted to inquire of him on the issue of whether he's willing to speak to the defense.
All right, yes. Mr. Relli, the defense, I know you've been interviewed in the past and you've been examined in court a number of times. The defense would like to, I guess, question you further and get an update on any information. It's your decision whether you want to or not. It's optional. You can say, yes, I'm willing to be interviewed, and if you are, that's fine. If you don't want to be interviewed, then you don't have to. It's your decision. But they want to know whether you're willing to sit for an interview. So what's your response?
I respectfully decline. I respectfully decline.
Okay, all right. Will you step out, and we'll have you come back in when we're ready for you.
Can we just make sure, I don't know if either of the defense witnesses are in court right now.
Okay, well, I'm going to... Sure.
So just before we were going to, either the court can...
We're going to deal with that.
No, but the court was starting to talk about evidence in the case, and I wanted to make sure that they were not in here while the court was going to talk about the problem.
Yeah, so Mr. Levin and Mr. Phillips, they are not court. All right. All right. Does the prop gun exist?
The prop gun existed, yes.
Does it exist now?
I don't know if it exists now. Are you asking, do we have it, are we going to produce it?
Yes.
No.
All right, well, that answers that question. All right, let's deal with Mr. Levin. Is he outside?
Yes.
All right, can you have him come in? And I don't see any reason why, no, we can't. Now, do you?
I mean, I think technically, obviously we're going to be asking questions that go to this area. If counsel, I don't have a problem with being here. If counsel has an objection, I think we'd be well.
Do you see any reason why you can't be in here? I'm going to be talking now about Levin and Phillips, so I'm not talking anymore.
I don't think he should be in here.
If you don't think he should be in here, then he's...
And I don't think Levin should be in here after you're done with the meeting.
He doesn't need to be. I just... are you Mr. Levin?
I am.
What's your first name, Mr. Levin?
Lewis, L-O-U-I-S.
Deputy Bennett, could you give him a piece of paper? On the piece of paper, I want you to write your birthday down.
Yes.
I don't want you to stay in an open court because this is being recorded and the public doesn't need to know what your birthday is.
Thank you.
Once you write down your birthday on the piece of paper, give it to Deputy Bennett. Deputy Bennett, give it to the prosecutors and they can investigate it. Have you done that?
I have.
All right. Mr. Levin, the prosecutors, they want the opportunity to interview you before you take the stand. It's optional. You can agree to do it or you can refuse to do it. It's just totally up to you. Were you advised of this?
No.
All right. These are the prosecutors, and they just want to explore what you have to offer in this case. Are you willing to be interviewed by them?
No.
All right. Step up here.
Can the witness be advised that a failure to...
Oh, yeah. I just want you to know, and Relli will be told the same thing. By refusing, this can be brought out on cross-examination that you refused to be interviewed by the prosecution, which could impact your credibility. But that's totally your decision. If you don't want to talk to the prosecutors, you don't have to. If you agree to, you can. But I just want you to know of the consequences.
I understand that.
You still don't want to speak with them?
Correct.
All right.
I'm assuming he can give an answer as to why he doesn't want to. Correct.
Yeah, if he's asked?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course. If he's asked, if he's confronted with, isn't it true that we wanted to speak to you and you refused, he'll say yes. And then the prosecution asks, or you can ask, why did you refuse? Sure. If it's touched on direct, it can be touched on, if it's touched on cross-examination, you can touch on it on redirect. All right, step out, please. And what about Phillips?
Your Honor, before we go on to Mr. Phillips, we still do not have, counsel has never provided the date of the interview with him, how
Would
many
you-
there were.
Would you wait? I have things
Oh, okay.
in a certain order. What about Phillips?
Sure.
Where is Phillips?
He's in
He's in New York?
He's in New York. But we contacted him and alerted him to the fact.
Okay,
that you're on
call him. Can you call him? Sure.
Or New York.
Did you get the birth date on Mr. Levin?
Yes.
Okay. What is Phillips' first name?
Jamel.
Jamel.
Jamel?
Jamel.
Can you put, are you able to put on speakerphone?
Yes. All right, Your Honor, Mr. Phillips is here on speakerphone.
All right. Mr. Jamel Phillips?
Hello, how you doing?
All right. Captain, can you hear me? All right, Mr. Phillips, I'm the judge in the case. You're aware of the case, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. Two things I want to inquire of you. At some point, you're going to be coming to court to testify. You're aware of that?
Yes, sir.
All right. The prosecution would like the opportunity to interview you before you take the stand, just to find out what you have to offer and what you have to say. It's optional with you. You can either you can agree to be interviewed, or you can refuse. Are you aware of this? Are you aware of this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Will you agree to be interviewed or not?
No, I do not want to be interviewed.
All right. I want you to know, though, if you refuse, then the jury is going to know that you refuse to be interviewed by the prosecution, and it could impact your believability or credibility in the eyes of the jury. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to have you taken off speakerphone, and the phone is going to be given to the bailiff. Mr. Phillips, I want you to give your birth date to the bailiff. No one is going to be able to hear it except her. She's going to write down your birth date, and she's going to give it to the prosecution, because the prosecution is entitled to at least look into your background, and part of that is required that you give your birth date. But it is not going to be broadcasted or publicized in any way.
Your Honor, the court also inquires whether or not he has a residence outside of New York, or has had a residence outside of New York.
Do you live here in California?
No.
Do you have a residence here in California?
No, not under my name. No.
Not what?
No.
Do you have a residence anywhere beside New York?
No.
All right, so when you were out here, were you just visiting?
Yes.
Okay. All right, go ahead and take it off speakerphone. All right, and Deputy Bennett, let him know when he's off speakerphone, and then have him give you the birthday. Do you want him on like 24-hour call, or is that handled? Say again?
We'll handle it.
All right, you have a birthday?
We did.
All right, getting back to Mr. Levin, since he's being called as a witness, how many times has he been interviewed by anybody from your office?
Twice, Your Honor.
Okay, when was the first time?
Mid-August, Your Honor.
About 24?
24.
And where did the interview take place?
In our office in Manhattan.
Was the interview recorded in any way?
It was not.
Who was present for the interview?
Mr. Tacopina and Ms. Lanzoni, along with myself.
How long did the interview last?
I'm trying to recall, Your Honor. About an hour and a half.
And nobody took notes or prepared a written statement as to what Mr. Levin said?
No, Your Honor, it was a conversation.
I had said that the people are entitled to at least know the sum and substance. Since there's no written recording of what happened, the people are entitled to know the sum and substance of your conversation. So that is to be generated today.
We did that, Your Honor. We provided it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, the court, if the court recalls, Your Honor, the court made an order that they were supposed to turn over the discovery.
Did they?
Well, what we originally got was, we got a paragraph saying he was going to talk about his observations, not what the observations were. The day before we started trial on the 20th, we got approximately a 15-line summary that certainly would not take an hour and a half. No dates as to when the interview occurred. Nothing about who was there. By the way, even now, what they're just told the court is, there's an interview in mid-August. They can't even say what date it was. And what they gave us was simply, apparently, a combination
What's
of
the date?
everything he said.
I know you know what date it is, so what's the date?
It would have been August 16th or 17th, Your Honor.
All right. When was the second time you interviewed him? About? No, not about. When was the second time?
Or, of course, I'd like to have questions to deal with too, right? On this. I mean, we have the same issues with some of the other witnesses, right?
All right. Well, let's deal with this, and then I'll listen to what you have to say. All right, when was the second time?
It was the 26th, Your Honor.
So 10 days later?
No.
No, 2 days ago, January 26th.
Oh. Where did that interview take place?
That was at our hotel.
How long did that interview take?
Yeah, about the same amount of time, Your Honor, an hour and a half.
So, was that interview recorded in any way?
It's all about 15 lines. The court's aware. On the 20th, the court expressed skepticism. On the 15th, the court expressed skepticism that the defense did not record it, did not write anything down, did not have any substance as to what was said.
Right.
So apparently, after the court gave that lecture, they conduct another interview 2 days ago, where again, they don't record it, they don't make any notes about it, and they don't turn anything over.
They're not required to. If they choose to do their job that way, then they do their job that way.
They are required to let us know that they have interviewed the defendant or the witness.
Yeah.
They have to let us know that interview took place, when it took place, who was there. It appears, again, I'm not going to pull punches. It's very clear what's going on.
All right, so what do you suggest?
Well, what I suggest is I find it completely disingenuous that we have 3 hours now worth of interviews. We got a total of about 15 lines. Very little detail about what's going on. And so if all of a sudden he ends up testifying to more detail than he gave, and the court already has because we've sent it, if he ends up testifying to more detail than what he has previously provided in this miniaturized summary, then we've got a discovery violation.
Are you? Who's going to be a question? Is that you?
I will, Your Honor.
All right. Are you going to be going into any subjects or areas that are not covered in what you gave to the prosecution?
No, Your Honor.
So there is nothing that you are going to ask about that does not fall within the summary.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Then I think there's been I think discovery's been satisfied.
Well, at least this point,
Right.
we can't demonstrate the discovery is not been satisfied because he hasn't testified yet. Does the court really believe that we have 3 hours of interviews and 15 lines? I don't.
I have. This is not the first time I've been aware that lawyers don't take notes If Mr. Siegel represents to me that no notes were taken, or Mr. Tacopina represents to me that no notes were taken, I have no basis to disbelieve it. Would I do it that way? No. But if they choose to do it that way, that's their choice. He told you, Mr. Siegel just told you, that any topic that's going to be inquired about is in the summary that you've got. So for now, discovery has been complied with. All right, let's talk about Phillips. When was the first time Phillips was interviewed?
That's what
Oh, it was 1 week.
We were just talking about Levin.
no,
Levin. We were just talking about Levin,
oh,
right? We're not talking about Phillips.
You're right.
All right.
No, you're
When
correct.
was the first time Mr. Phillips was interviewed?
It was the week after we interviewed Ms. Levin.
All right, around August 23rd.
That's right.
And where did that happen?
In office.
Okay. And who was present for that?
Same circumstances. Ms. Tacopina, Ms. Lanzoni, and myself.
And how long did that interview take?
Yeah, about an hour, Your Honor.
1 hour? No notes?
No
Or
notes.
no report?
No.
Did you provide a detailed outline of the sum and substance?
We did. At the same time, we provided that detailed sentence.
Now, do you intend to go into any areas with Mr. Phillips that are not within the summary that you provided to the prosecution?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and how many other times did you interview?
That was it.
That's the only time?
That's right.
just so it's clear, Your Honor, we were provided literally with about 12 lines of Mr. Levin's alleged testimony. The issue is not...
We're talking about Phillips now.
Excuse me. Levin was 12 lines, Phillips was 18 lines.
Okay.
And I should just add that the issue is not that they're not going to cover a new area. It's that, as an example, when Mr. Phillips is talking about the actual incident, there's very little information there. It would appear, as the court is aware, the first thing that they said in discovery was that the witness would testify, quote, about his observations during the incident. So they then follow that up with, well, okay, we're now going to tell you apparently a little bit about what he's going to say. So again, Your Honor, this is our concern. Because we've been provided with so little of what actually happened, it's not that we're going to introduce a new topic. It's that all of a sudden, these witnesses are going to get on the stand, and the amount of detail they are going to give is going to be completely inconsistent with the minimal information that we were given. When you add in the fact, and again, they're not required to take notes, but they are absolutely required to immediately after provide, if they're not going to take notes or record, an accurate summary and statements of what the witness has said. So our concern is we basically were given nothing, almost zero. They're going to get up on the stand after, again, 2 hours for one, an hour for one, 3 hours prior to the other, and they're going to testify in greater detail. That, when you combine that with the prior attempts and not turning over discovery, even after the court's order, leads to the inescapable conclusion that they're not complying with the meaning of the letter and the court's order. So I understand the court doesn't have anything it can do now, but the court has been furnished with the discovery they provided. It's not a long read, as I said.
I haven't been provided anything.
It's in, I believe it's in the emails that we have sent. If not, I will give the court a copy, but it's literally on one page for both of them.
If I'm understanding you, Mr. Siegel, that any topic that you're going to cover on direct examination,
I'll be
Mr.
doing
Levin,
this, Mr. Phillips.
all right. Am I correct in assuming that any question that is asked on direct examination by either counsel or Mr. Levin and Mr. Phillips is encompassed in the summary that's been given to the prosecution?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I just wanted a yes or no. All right.
And I'd like to say more than one word.
Wait. All right. I don't see any other topics to go into. All right.
In terms of, on this issue of the total,
For now,
there's a couple of other issues that people have. The first issue relates to, it's not just the real evidence of profit. We've been furnished with only 2 witnesses at the call.
right.
It is our understanding there will be no other witnesses that will be called to testify about the profit. The court's aware Counsel and I have been asking for days, in email the court is talking to you, are you planning on producing the gun in this
He
case?
said no.
Well, they refused to answer that question the last week we've been asking. They've also answered the second question, are they now planning, which would be against the court's discovery order, to call any other witness regarding the problem information? Can the court please inquire? We've only been told there's 2 witnesses they're calling, plus maybe the defense.
So, any other witnesses that you intend to call or reasonably intend to call?
But the only possibility is sitting right to my right, right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
So it's either the Levin, Phillips, and Rossi, or just Levin and Phillips?
Yeah.